NGI Glass 2018 SR&ED claim the project was developing a custom lamination process. And this project has two sections. One is creating a 3D image. This one is what we're seeing here. And the second part of the project was basically lamination of mesh or fabric. What we see here in this particular one is a 3D image. It looks like a 3D, but in fact it's just a glass. To create this one, most people of VSL common sense is create a back glass, put various parts in it. This is antique, clear, on the back glass and build it coming forward. Well, they did that type of experience. They figured out it doesn't work. They cannot get a proper alignment. The parts stop twisting. The shade was not there. They experienced series of problems. So they figured it out. The best option to do it is not going from backward forward, but from forward going backward. What do I mean by that? Say this is the top glass, front glass that you see here, and we can touch it. Right behind it, they put a layer of antique, clear, so on and so forth. After that, they reverse the sequence. They put a clear, antique, and so on and so forth. The top glass right on top of it, and they pour in between polyethylene in order to form it. You pay attention here, I'm going to get closer look. Antique, clear, and so on and so forth. Same row. Next row, they reverse the sequence. They put clear, antique, clear, of course, at the back of it. We are talking about not at the front, but at the back of it. That's the way they could achieve this look. Closer look, clearly you see it's not one piece, it's multiple pieces, something like 5 layers in order to create that. What we see over here is not dirty glass or discolorated, this is antique. This is antique glass. The glass is cracked. That's one of the main problems that they have. They have to basically, as they're developing a technique, prevent the glass from cracking. This is the second part of the project of the lamination. In the lamination, as you already know, has 3 layers. One at the bottom, middle one, they can put either mesh or they can put a fabric. The mesh comes 2 types. One is bronze, what we see, or aluminum. And when they have that one, they put chemical on it and they put another layer. But the problem with that approach is they couldn't get it work. Chemical wasn't uniform. The fabric, especially fabric, was wrinkling in between the glass. So maintaining a nice uniform, so it's going to stay at the center, was pretty hard. To solve this problem, and also another major problem that they had was when they put the fabric between the glass or the mesh, metal mesh in between the glass, and they put a chemical, the chemical were eating through the fabric and the metal, and they were dissolving them. Regardless how much they didn't experiment with various viscosity, applying coating on the metal and the fabric, still the chemical were eating through. So they had to develop a technique to prevent that, and also they had to develop a technique to make sure the mesh is nicely uniformly laid at the middle of the both glass, not going to one side, is not wrinkled or tangled. On the chemical side, the experiment that they did, they experimented a series of different type of chemical solution. The best result that they could achieve is using 1%, adding 1%, here we go, 1% organic peroxide, this is the number of the chemical that they're using, and add 1% organic silane ester. All the detail about the activities is here in the interview notes. Adding these two, they help significantly preventing the chemical from eating through the materials. But the next step was basically developing a technique or improving the technique that they had to ensure that the metal or the fabric is not going to tangle. And also they had to find a way to prevent air trapped or air bubble inside between the glass. This is, as you can see, this is a lamination process to make these color glasses. Clearly you see in this sample there are 3 layers, and at the middle is, or in the interlayer is bronze, interlayer is aluminum. 5 layers. Probably here is a metal, either bronze, and by the back they add another layer for the color, differentiate. Different surface profile. 5 layers or 3 layers we see over here is 5 layers. Top layer, middle layer, interlayer, another layer, intermediate layer, and the final one. Pay attention in this antique, one of the problems they had, quality issues. Pay attention all around the edges, all around edges. You see this white? This is a defect that they had to figure it out to solving a problem. Here, clearly you see there is an air bubble. One here, big one, and one a smaller one. This is good, but quite often they have much more. Experimenting with heating up the liquid solution in order to improve or increase the viscosity didn't work. Various solution didn't work. Shaking it in order to get over it, eliminating it didn't work. The best way to get rid of this air bubble was basically vacuuming it out. So what they did, they got a syringe, inserted into the liquid, and basically they sucked the air bubble out. In order to get a nice and uniform, the fabric is going to be nice and uniform distributed on the glass, throughout the glass. The best way that they could approach it, and most conventional way of thinking, is laying down horizontally a layer of glass, put a fabric or a mesh on top of it, pour chemical, and put a second layer of glass on it. This approach didn't work simply because they got a series of problems, including wrinkle of the fabric, air bubbles, and a series of other problems. The best approach that they had, they realized that they create a sandwich look of 2-layer glasses with 1/8 of the inch space. To do that one, they created basically grab a sheet of glass all around us. They put a tape, silicone tape, 1/8 of an inch thick. They put a second layer on top of it. They could secure all around. They left it open at the beginning. They put position at 60 degrees angle, or vertically you may call it. Then they gradually pull a chemical into it. So the chemical gradually fell up, came all the way up there, and they seal the top one. That way they could basically maintain uniform 1/8 thickness throughout and preventing the fabric or the mesh from wrinkling.